Hi, everybody. Thank you for letting me be a part of this. I assume that you guys can see my screen now, so I'll just jump in. Hello again. My name is Brandon Howard. I'm the founder and CEO of U4EA. We are a digital sound healing company building an API-first architecture. The U4EA family thanks you for the opportunity to share our work. I'm based, as you said, out here in Los Angeles, California. It's a little late here, so wake me up if I fall asleep. Our belief at U4EA is that world peace begins with inner peace. We're excited to contribute to the healing power of experience through the healing power of sound, because we find experience to be the fundamental catalyst to reality, with stress as the catalyst for chronic disease. Here's why. Something happens. For a moment, you have an experience without impact, without meaning. Your mind and body start to recognize the event consciously and or subconsciously, then adapts by releasing hormones. This mixture gets experienced as emotions, and then you react. Now your mind, body, and soul have a memory that will shape similar experiences for the rest of your life. So what happens when your experiences are traumatic? I'll use me as an example. I was born to very forward-thinking parents and raised in a very backward-thinking area, the kind of place where they reenact traumas of wars that they lost. Balanced thinking was challenging amidst overwhelming cultural biases. Through oblivious grit and determination, I pushed myself through a competitive university. I pushed myself through a competitive sport. I pushed myself through competitive industries. And by the age of 30, I herniated one disc in my lower spine and ruptured another. So what I learned later, after being denied surgery and experiencing poor outcomes from pain meds and physical therapy, was that my back would spasm worse after periods of extreme stress. That's when I sought out the work of Hans Selye. He wrote the book on stress. He explains how our bodies respond to our thoughts, how we release different hormones for different situations, and how we have to balance our thoughts and emotions, or else they lead to chronic diseases. I realized bottling up my emotions led to my chronic inflammation, and the repeated behavior led to my chronic disease. In the US, there's nothing doing more damage to our economy than our lack of support for mental health and chronic outcomes. From time away from work impacting GDP to hospital readmissions driving up insurance costs. Billions of lives were impacted, and these numbers were rising before the pandemic. In search of a solution for myself, I gravitated toward concepts around vibration. I grew up playing music in school and saw a safe and effective way to reduce stress. Binaural beats have been proven to help people reach states of mind like sleep, relaxation, meditation, mood improvement, self-motivation, and focus within 10 minutes or less. The solfeggio scale, used throughout history by monks for mental, emotional, and physical balance, is proving effective in 5 minutes or less. So here's what we did with it. Available now on iOS is our MVP. With a library of over 3,500 positive states of mind, our listeners can use emotions as symptoms, choose how they'd like to feel, boost the personal attribute, and set their activity level. Then they press play and listen, preferably through headphones. Our results drive our priorities to enhance our direct-to-consumer platform, make our tech available via APIs, and validate our approach to behavior augmentation for the healthcare sector. With our free-to-download MVP, very few resources, and mostly word-of-mouth marketing, we've surpassed 36,000 downloads. Our retention rate is above 80%. 4 out of 5 people say U4EA helps, and we have just published a white paper to break down those details. Our number of partnerships is climbing quickly, and we're ready to streamline our process. We see ourselves integrating seamlessly in any wellness experience where sound is accessible: spas, homes, offices, hospitals, public places, and digital platforms. We're going with the freemium subscription model. Our revenue comes from a per customer per month rate for accessed features. This is a common approach on the D2C side, direct to consumer. On the B2B side, we can integrate our tech through APIs, white label, and co-branding, and we aim to be a leader in democratizing the sentiment data we're collecting. We anticipate generating revenues upwards of 119 million by 2024, reaching MRR of 17 million. And these estimates are based on growing our initial customer base and a subscription rate of 10%. We're raising 600K in safes and are actively building relationships with investors and partners ready to help U4EA expand to a global market with outcome improving solutions. We built our team to pursue innovation and analysis through the wellness sector and into the healthcare space. My experience in fintech enlightens us as to how our sentiment data will be valued. Nardo brings his wisdom from leading innovation at Kaiser. Wen is a PhD MBA who will guide our research initiatives. And Vlad is an international medical device executive who will drive market adherence. Again, we thank you so much for this opportunity. We've shared a lot about how thoughts and perspectives can impact experiences in health and how sound can be a positive driver for all. Please feel free to download the U4EA MVP on iOS using the QR code on the screen. Namaste.
Thank you, Brandon. Perfect timing.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And I'm sure the jury is ready with some good questions for you. Please.
Ready when you are. Hi, Susie.
Okay, so thank you so much, Brendan. Very interesting. I'm also quite excited about the sound effects, but I was wondering, because this is not clear to me. So if I'm a user of this tool, so what kind of sounds am I able to hear? Because, for example, I'm very sensitive to noise, and I live in the center of Copenhagen. So I hear a lot of noises, but I would like to hear, what are your sounds? What kind of things can I find in your app or in your system?
It's very boring, honestly. No, I'm joking. So what the sounds, each sound is a drone. It's a very low, subtle drone. A binaural beat is when you can hear the whoa, 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 whoa. So essentially, the noise that you hear is the same noise you would hear if you were humming, or if you were like trying to hum in different parts of your body and feel the vibration in different parts of your body. So essentially, instead of having or listening to a monk hum or you hum, you're just hearing a digital interpretation of a frequency that they would use in order to project a particular effect, or to reach a certain mind state, to deal with a certain attribute that they're focused on. So it's really it's background noise. You could listen to it by itself and it could have an effect. You could listen to it while you're playing, whatever music you traditionally listen to, or a video that you want to watch. So the app is designed to work behind what you normally do and sort of motivate you, or sort of give you that extra push that you need depending on what your activity is. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and the next question would be, so who produces the sounds? I mean, where do they come from? How do you develop these sounds?
Sure. So it's done digitally. We use a binaural beat generator, which essentially says, and I don't go into enough detail on the binaural beats in the 5 minutes, but essentially a binaural beat is when you have one tone playing in your left ear and a slightly different tone playing in your right ear. And then as the sound waves cross in the middle of your mind or middle of your brain, then it creates a third wave. If you've ever seen like drops of water, or if you drop two pebbles into a pond and the ripples collide, when they collide, they'll create a third wave, and that third wave is the binaural beat. So in order to answer your question, was more about where do these sounds come from? What I did was a pretty thorough analysis to build a matrix of what tones have what effect and how to incorporate that into binaural beats. So I created a spreadsheet that I was referencing for my own use, because I was using the binaural beats on a separate app. And that was getting too clunky to reference the sheet or do the calculations on the fly. So I, again, created the matrix, took it to a development company, and they were able to use a binaural beat generator to line up with the matrix I created. And that's where the tones come from.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a couple of questions. The first one is, I noticed on one of your slides that it said, some of the users that tried out your solution, it helps. So could you tell me just a little bit more about that? So what were the health outcomes? How exactly did it help?
Sure. So I'll give examples. One of the first people that came to me was a woman who was struggling with, she was going for radiation therapy. She had cancer. And she was already sort of a meditator and a mindful person. So she gravitated quickly to my app, and she recognized how it could be used to help her with her pain management. And then after she was done with chemotherapy, she had, surgery, and she used it for pain management. So that's one way that it helps. My mother-in-law, she's an insomniac, and well, maybe not that bad, but she does have issues sleeping. And so a lot of people with insomnia have come to me and they'll ask me for a recommendation, and I'll quickly like forward them a combination. You can do that through the app, is share that with others. But ultimately, some of the combinations have been able to help people sleep better than they ever have in years. And it's the sympathetic vibration that your brain goes through, which is why it responds to these particular frequencies. And so, yeah, that's another example how it helps. We've had athletes who have been using it to recover more quickly from just exercise or just getting more oxygen in their system. They'll listen to it while they sleep, and then they'll wake up with they'll have a wearable that says your recovery is increased by 87%, or your HRV has been shifted whenever you listen to these white noise apps. So the white paper that I have, I'm happy to share it with you, but it goes in a lot more detail about how different people use it for different things.
And just a very quick second part question. Business plan, B2C or B2B, where do you see the majority of the business plan actually going?
Initially D2C or direct to consumer. We have to sort of, make an impact and get more buy-in, more validation. It just needs to be a little bit more popular. But as businesses are gravitating to it, eventually they sort of overtake the revenue model down the road. So it starts off D2C and ends B2B.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have one question? Thank you for your presentation, Brandon. I have actually worked with several projects within the sound industry, so I'm not doubting that the impact of sound is really interesting. My question is more general, because in my preparation for today, I of course have been reading about your idea, and I think it's great. And so my question is more general, because in your presentation I understood that you will position yourself as a non-profit, and I'm hearing it more like a traditional business, and that is only a good thing. But is you a non-profit or is it a business? Because you're talking about revenues, and I'm a business developer, so of course I'm a fan of revenues. But so what is your plan? Is it a non-profit or is it a business?
It's a great question. I'm kind of curious where you were led to seeing us as a nonprofit. That was definitely a sentiment of mine years ago, and it still resonates now, because I feel that capitalism does have it can have a negative impact. And so I like the businesses that call themselves non-for-profit or not-for-profit, meaning they run like businesses, but it's not about how much money can we gather. So I see sort of a more efficient business approach is to be functioning a little bit more like a nonprofit. Like, where can you put your money so that way it does more good for more people? And in that sense, I think that, we're not profit driven. However, sustainability is crucial. And so we want, returns for everybody that helps us. We understand how the economy works, and we want to make everybody happy. However, I think as a business, I'd love to set the example for how we can do a lot, earn a lot, make a lot of people happy, and it not be just about, the bottom line.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I'd like to ask a question.
Yeah, sure.
I was just wondering, how long is the session? How long is the session when you are in treatment, sound treatment? Sure.
The effects of it varies. Again, I'm happy to share the white paper that we published. Essentially, there are groups of people that like to use it quickly, and some people, their average user session will be like 30 seconds to a minute, and they seem to be the more active types that just sort of want that quick fix. Then there's the meditators who use it for 30 minutes, and then you have the sleepers who use it for 8 hours. So it kind of depends on who you are, what you're doing, what your activity is. and how long you'll wind up using it. But we do see 3 primary use cases between like 30 seconds, 30 minutes, and 8 hours.
Okay, so that's quite a long span, but interesting.
Yeah. The average across all users is around 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Okay, and is that through several weeks you have to go through this program in order to feel the effects?
Most people feel it the first time they use it, which is why they continue to use it. And I'd say the more you use it, the faster the effects kick in. However, it's ultimately designed because everything on it is sort of based on emotions. And a lot of the earlier talks today were talking about, you know, what is the connection between like art and doing art and feeling better. And, you know, I'm happy to share that, you know, for me, color psychology was a real eye opener in terms of why art, why color, why sound has this impact on us. And so, yeah, I think that, already lost track of your question, but ultimately, yeah, I think that, do you remember repeating it? I did lose it. And we might be out of time. Helene, you're muted.
Structure and the treatment?
Yeah, we're almost out of time. Yeah, we are actually out of time.
All right, well, in 5 seconds, there's no structure to it. People can go with the flow and use it as they see fit. And we're always, you know, trying to receive more questions. We want to get to the next level so we can enhance the platform to get the better feedback, to make the better suggestions and updates for everybody.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you so much to you, U4EA, and to the jury.